In this video, I'm going to cover the drop down widget. Okay, so drop down widget. This widget you can reuse your projects also. So drop down widget is class drop down widget. This is a class name. Should be stateless widget. Drop down widget. For the drop down, what is the required? So we need to load the list of items, right? List of items options or list of options for drop down widget. What is the list of option you are going to show in the drop down? We need to pass the list of option. Need to pass. Okay, need to pass to drop down widget and on selection. Okay, on change after click on the any drop down and it should be now it should be sent back to the that information selected item selected value. Okay, selected value need to need to pass need to pass back to parent widget, right? So what is the required things is, so if you create the drop down, what is required? I want to pass the drop down list and select the values also. What is the default value is selected, default value need to pass also. What is the default value we need to pass? Okay, the default value need to pass and as well as getting the value back from the parent to child, child to parent, right? So for this, I'm going to create the reusable component. For the reusable component, what is required? Okay, so final, final, first list. We require the list of items. Okay, we want to write a list of items. Okay, items, values. Okay, we require list of items, but this drop down may support any data type, right? So either we can pass the numbers like 1 2 3 or a string also. So in this place I'm going to explain about the generics. How many members knows the generics? So if you pass the t here, okay, if you pass the t, okay, this is a generic, this is a generic. Okay, so t is a generic value, we can pass directly any type to the drop down component. But as per requirement, now only we want a string. Later I will cover the generics. We want a in the drop down we need to pass the all the options. After this and pass the default values also. What is the default value you are going to load in the drop down? After this in the drop down, what is required? What is the required? On change. Okay, if we change that selected value, which is the selected value? This is a function. This function will implement in the parent. Okay, so here 3 is required. Okay, in the drop down we need to pass the items and pass the default values, and after selecting the drop down, what is the value you are select, you have to pass the back. Okay, so now let's see why it's not overriding out, right? The t is isn't type, so can argument as fix a pilot. Yeah, see, while writing the any, see, this is very important topic, generics. So I'm going to pass the generics. This is important. And that if we use the T, we can pass the anything to the drop down. Okay. So similar thing we implemented previously. Similar thing we are implemented previously. Okay. I will tell you later. First, let's write a drop down as a common. Okay. Super dot key and comma. What is required? We need to pass the items, default values, and this one. Okay, now you can see here. T means, for example, in the drop down, we can, in the drop down, we can pass the, okay, list of, let's say, names. Okay, names, let's say my, so we can pass like this. Okay, and something like when I, like this is array. Okay, I want to uh, show this strings in the drop down. Okay, this is one requirement. But another requirement, I want to load like years. We have the years, right? 2020, 2018. These are the years. This is the strings and this is year. Okay, so it's a difficult to create a two drop downs for the different data type. Okay, so difficult to pass the, for example, I want to load only string as a drop down. Okay, so instead of, I need to create a drop down only for the string. Okay, I want to display the years. For years also, create a separate drop down for the years. Instead of that, using the generics, we'll make this drop down component as a generics. That meaning is we can pass the anything to the drop down. We can pass the anything to the drop down. This is very, very important concept is a generics. Let's explain briefly about the generics. So the people are don't know about the generics. I'm giving the brief explanation about the generics. Okay, the class, for example, uh, so list of we have one class. Okay, so this class do some operations. What is the operations? Let's say example, void add one value. Okay, suppose int a. Let's example void remove another. These are two functions, right? So here you maintain the integer, right? Clear? Okay, if you declare the, for example, let's create a main function here. We can write directly, right? So list of operations will create a object for the class. We need to pass the integer value to the class. But same class, I want to perform with strings also. Okay, I want to perform with strings also. Okay, add remove also I want to perform with a string also. For this, again I need to write another class. Okay, class list string operation like whatever it is. Okay, string operations add and remove. Again I need to create separate class. Already I created separate class, right? List of string operations. Let's say operations add Mahesh. Oh, for example, remove Mahesh. See, any differentiation is there here? No differentiation, right? Right, in the array, see, list of list. Okay, in the list I will add a list dot add list dot remove. Okay, remove a. Okay, same thing we can perform the operation in here also. Here there is no logic is behind that. Okay, same array we are perform with different data types here. Okay, for example, list is there. Here is a list. Okay, list dot add a list dot remove a. See, we created a separate class, list operations, list string operations. Two class. The similar class is perform the same operation on the array. The only difference is this list is integer, this list string. Clear? So instead of writing the multiple classes for the different data types, okay, I will make this as a generics. I will make this class with a generics. Okay. How will pass the generics? Same. I will create the class with the generics is list all operations. Let's say list operations is a one class. Okay. Operations is a one class. In this class, I'm going to define the what just pass the t value here. Okay. I don't know what kind of information I'm passing. I don't know. It's a list or string, whatever it is. I will create a list with T. Okay, list of, okay, T list. Okay, and add remove. Hope is clear. So now this is the only, this class only suppose integer. This class will only support the string, but this class it support any data type. Let's example, while calling the function list of operation, just pass the what kind of data we are passing. That's it. Okay. So list of operation add, list of operation remove. But if you want to perform a string, just like this. How simply, right? Just we are passing the what kind of data we are passing. The same class it support the integer and double, integer and string. In the future, this will support double also. Same class, it will support the boolean also. Same add and remove. Clear? Same class. We are not create the class for the different data types, right? We are not creating the class for different data type. Here we create the, this class will perform the only string. This class will perform the only integer. But if you create a class with a generic, it perform the operation any type. Just only thing is we have to pass the T like this. Okay, similar concept I implemented in the drop down. In the drop down class, class name, and I'm passing the what kind of data I'm passing to the drop down and what is the list what I selected. So okay, the drop down didn't care is integer, a string, or any object, or it didn't care that. Just only what is the list is just display in the drop down and send back to the items. Okay, in the drop down, we can load strings and integer, doubles, or anything we can load inside the drop down. So that is use of the generics. Okay. Now this drop down it support only strings, only load the strings. Okay. So I explained about generics, right? Can I will make this drop down with the generics. This this drop down should support the list of strings or list of integer, list of any type. That's why for that I'm going to create the generics with a generics. Okay. The list of items also T and the selected item also T and selected value also T. Okay, T only. Okay, this is generics. Okay, notation. Okay, now this drop down we can reuse for the integer strings and anything. So that is about the generics. Now the left is there. Few left. I'm going to uh, create a drop down with a full example now. Okay, now I didn't design anything, right? Let's design now. Now this drop down, what is required? I designed this one. Now see, this is a drop down. So this drop down default value is there. So it's created a default value here, and on change it selected the value at the back. Okay. Clear? This drop down I can reuse anytime. How can you use this drop down? My requirement is the year I want to load years, some strings, some integers. The petrol type string, transmission type is a string. Okay, I want to load as a drop down in the list. In the drop down list, load the strings or load the integer. Anything this drop down it support. That is the magic of the generics. So using the generics, I created a reusable component, drop down component. Okay, now we create a drop down. I want to use this drop down in the add car form. Okay, so here, uh, let's say create in the view model. In the view model, define all the drop down items. Okay, so view model add car view model dot dot. In the view model dot class add car view model extends change notifier. Okay, here what we require? We have to create list of years, right? List of list of integer as a years, years. Okay, years list. Using this and the brands. Now I brands is not drop down, right? What is the drop down? Transmission list, and next one is fuel type. So these are the drop down list. Okay. Okay, so now in the drop down I want the years from the 1942. Let's run this. Need. Okay, so is here's. Let's uh, create a array. Okay, I will write a small function here to generate years. Okay, so years let's generate where you want. Okay, so this is a years list is generated here. Clear? Huh? So instead of writing the length of this much of code, okay, uh, how like this? See, list for example. Okay, for example, okay, like this. Now 2019 01 19 02 1903 like this till 2024 వరకు రాయాలి అంటే it's going to the big number of lines is required. Instead of this, I have written the one array list dot generate. I am generating the list. I am generating taking the current date of the year minus 1919 1 plus 1. It's a generated list. It's give the list from the 1901 to till date. Clear? Right? And come to the transmission list. Okay. So in the transmission list, the vehicle has a manual automatically. How many transmission is there? We know the few, right? Let's have copied from the here. This is a transmission list. Clear? Manual transmission, automated transmission, continuously variable CVT. Okay, semi-automated. These are the transmission list. That list also we need to load in the screen. And next one is what is the fuel type? Okay, the fuel type also petrol, diesel, electric, hybrid, plug-in hybrid. These are the list is there. Okay, let's copy. These are the fuel list. Clear? So why I'm creating everything in the model, view model. So through the view model, we are getting the everything. Hope is clear, everyone. So we have the list of air, we have the list of transmission, we have a list of fuel type. Okay, here is enter here, right? I will remove this here from the screen. I will make a drop down. Okay, I will make a drop down. I will remove this one. I will make a drop down for the year also. Okay, let's see. I remove the year else. Here I will load the drop down. Okay, for the drop down I'm preparing the data. So here's list, transmission list, fuel type. Now after this and get selected value. Okay, so selected string, right? String selected transmission, selected fuel type, selected year. Okay, now here I'm writing the write the method. Okay, set select year. Okay, and select fuel, selected here. Clear? Huh? Any doubts till now, guys? So we are writing the logic here in add car. We are writing the everything here. So we are this method call from the screen and update the value and send the back to the next screen. Okay. So this is the logic of the each selection drop down selection. Okay, logic is done, list is done. That only thing is I want to use the drop down. This drop down, I want to use the drop down in the car screen. So where I required name of the year, name of the car, brand, address. Before address, I want to load the one by one list. Okay, here I'm taking the view model. What is the view model? Add car view model. Okay, view model equal to provider of this one. So less than already 2. Okay, in this view model, if we refer this view model, we'll get a list of AR. See that view model object. You can, based on the view model object, you can get the years list, transfers list, previous list, and the selected value, everything, right? Okay, that value will load into the in the drop down. So here, what is the drop down component? Drop down widget. And what kind of value we are passing here? Here, right? Integer value and the view model dot years list. Clear? Huh? Okay. So view model dot selected year, but it should be like if anything is selected, if it's a null, let's view model selected year. Okay, selected year, the first object, or else so not selected year, years list. Clear? Huh? I will tell you what is this one. Okay, here now see, in this drop down we get an integer. Okay, selected value, right? So selected value is selected year, which is selected. You can see here, select year. Okay, you confused here. Okay, in the drop down is a one widget. I'm passing the generic integer. So here I'm loading the years. What is the years is there? The view model dot years. So it's generate the years from the view model. That years is load in the items. The default value is there. So here selected here is the integer exclamation mark, right? That is optional. If is optional, initially there is no value in that. If is no value, I load the first object. Which is the first object? Years. Instead of that, we can write like this also, index of 0, or else we can write it directly first. So in the years list, get the first value, put a default value as a first value. Now, after selecting drop down, view model dot, we pass the selected year method. See, the selected year method. So this method is called the value assigned to the selected year and notify listener. Again, the build method is called and render with a default value. Like this, we need to call the, what is the left? Drop down widget for the transmissions also. Transmission string, right? Transmission list and select here, select a transmission. And like this, put a size box and drop down fuel type. Clear? Huh? So let's run this. Now see, we got some issues. Okay, why is issue is, anyone tell me what is the issue here? I'll give the 10 minutes, 5 minutes to identify the what is the issue. Okay, so this issue is because of we are not adding the our ad car provider inside the multi-pro. That's why it's getting the issue. Okay, so let's copy this. Okay, add car, right? Add car view model. So till now there is no repository. For now I didn't send anything. I'll keep like this only. Okay, so now let's reload again. See, clear? Huh? Right? So we'll get a drop down, manual transmission and petrol, and this is a, I think 2 times. Okay, Okay, I need to do some design. Okay, it's not looks good, right? It's not looks. So let me design few things. Okay, this is okay. Two places I use the transmission other like this one I think, right? Fuel type. Okay. In the add screen, two places I have used the fuel list. Where is the other here? Oh, here also I'm using. Here also I'm using. Let me remove this. Okay, that is the issue. Okay, so now see name of the car, brand, year. Okay, we have the year from 19012 till date. Okay, so we didn't take any any list like this. Okay, we created a static list like this, right, for the transmissions. But here we didn't take anything. We have generate from the list. That list is loaded here. And come to the transmission. What is the list here? This list is displayed here. Okay, here is diesel or petrol. This is a fuel list. Okay, so far we completed the design, the name, brand, year, fuel type, transmission, address, price per day, description. So far we completed everything. What is the left? Image. So this will cover in the next class, next video.